Good everyone, and welcome to today's video, and today we are doing a discussion video on the engine fire extinguishers for the various bombers, attacker aircraft, and the one fighter that ended up getting the fire extinguishers. Now, as someone who plays bombers and attackers quite a bit, when I saw it, I was like, wow, this is going to make a huge difference for bombers. And it's likely it will. Obviously, this is being recorded before the patch drops. And just in general, that will point out, I'll point out my personal opinion before it comes out. And obviously, if you want to ask me in the future about it, then I'll mention it when, I'll probably mention it in a future video when I talk about it a bit more. At least that's the idea. So, bombers in War Thunder have had a very mixed reputation. There was a time when bombers could take so many hits you'd have to pour half your ammunition load just to put one down, and even then, it wouldn't always put it down fully. And then, obviously, you have bombers that are like nowadays, which fall apart the second you look at them funny. I'm looking at UB-17G. And then, of course, you have bombers like this B-26, which, yeah, no. Just no. You won't be getting a review on this B-26, by the way. I haven't really thought, I haven't really thought about what my first review is going to be when I come back. Obviously, well, now that I'm back, obviously, I've got a few vehicles to do in terms of premium reviews. I've got an update to do on one vehicle, so that'll probably be what it is. Sprayed review will probably be whatever comes next patch. So I wanted to go a bit more into the discussion about the engine fire extinguishers because I am happy for it, but there's still a lot that needs to be done for bombers. Bombers definitely do need a damage rework. The bomber, shall we say, playstyle nowadays is if you fly straight, you die. If you dive in, you'll get your base, maybe, and then you'll die because your gunners won't do a lot. And the American 50 cals are one prime example for this. On the B-26, I was having a lot of trouble with the 50 cals, even with universal belts. Even when I was getting 450 cals on target, targeting the engine of let's say a Dora, I would be lucky to get a crit, and it'd be very rare I get a fire. There's definitely been a big nerf towards the 50 cal, which I'm not happy about. Obviously, it did need a nerf, but, I'd say a nerf, it did need a bit of a change. But it didn't need to be this stupid because it feels like I'm firing paper airplanes at them, and it's just annoying. Yes, the 50 cal could have been doing with a bit of a tone down, that I will fully agree on. But this pretty much feels like if you're using a 151 on a bomber right now, which, yeah, they're horrible. The 151s are also quite horrible at the minute. I've tried air targets, stealth, armored targets, and there's nothing that's working for the 151 to stop the black puffs. I've been getting 12 black puffs a match in the US 109F4, and that to me is quite frankly ridiculous. But to go back to the engine fire extinguishers, as you can tell, there is a lot that is going to be needed to be respaded next patch. Obviously, I've done it in two separate parts. There's a few other nations that get them, like France and China's PP4Y. But otherwise, it's mainly American aircraft that are getting it. Obviously, you can see the ones down here. There are also helicopters which are getting it, but I'm not interested in those. And there are some jets that are also getting those, but again, not interested. And as you can see, we've got a wide range of vehicles like the Privateer, A-26s, B-17s, B-24, and even the B-29 and P-61 are getting the fire extinguishers, which, again, I'm fully happy with. The only problem is that I don't think it's going to help bombers that much. Now I say that because it just feels like to me they don't want to do a bomber damage rework, which needs to happen. And for aircraft like the P-61, yes, it will help them, but there's the tail. The tail is extremely fragile on a P-61, and you'll lose your tail control before you even think twice. And this is mainly what kills Black Widows in the long run, is the tail control. The fires just killed it immediately, pretty much. Now, whilst that will obviously help towards the survivability of the P-61, the tail fragileness will not. And same for stuff like the B-17. The B-17G did have situations where engine fires would kill it. It still does to this day. And whilst the engine fires will, or the fire extinguishers will definitely help towards that, I just don't think it's worth them putting these in without doing some kind of bomber damage rework, which needs to happen. Because at the minute, the majority of bombers in the game are extremely fragile, B-17G especially, and to say the reputation this aircraft had, it is far gone in War Thunder right now. But of course, that is Gaijin's decision on what to do there. Now, I'm not being a negative Nancy here and saying that this is a bad addition, it never should have come. It should have come, but there needed to be something else on top of that, which is of course the bomber damage rework. And I say this because, well, the damage model rework. They also need to bring the 50 cals up a bit more, because at the minute it feels like I'm firing paper airplanes. Kind of the occasional incendiary paper airplane might happen, but still. It's just one of them things where there's good and there's bad. And so far, the bad is the gunners on most aircraft with 50 cals. Even the IL-2 has a problem, in my opinion. I've been having trouble with the bad gunner on my IL-2. But so far, Gaijin, you get a thumbs up, at least for now. You don't get 2, because you need to do something else. But for now, you're getting the 1. And I will be happy to see this coming to the game. Now, of course, there's going to be probably a toxic fighter main in the comments saying, why do bombers keep getting this? Bombers don't need it. Bombers are useless. All I'll say to you is, if they did this properly and actually gave bombers a proper damage model, you wouldn't be saying that. Because trust me, back in the day, bombers were to be feared if you intercepted them, stuff like B-29s. Because they used to fight stuff like K-84s. I mean, they still kind of do, but very rarely. And a B-29 with a skilled gunner at the controls, a skilled pilot / gunner at the controls, was definitely a force to be reckoned with back in the day. But of course, nowadays, the B-29 is a fragile piece of paper that faces air-to-air missiles, which, well, I mean, it doesn't face them much, but it does. And it's one of those things where, yes, it will help it, but whilst a missile will still take down the bomber, that's not what I'm on about. I'm on about guns, because the B-29 could take a pounding, the B-17 could take a pounding, the B-24 could also take a pounding. Need I say more? But for now, I'm well impressed with the fact that we have this, because it was 100% needed. And I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments below as well. And with that, I shall leave you all to discuss in the comments. I'll obviously reply to your comments and everything. Any douchebags in the comments from Toxic Fighter Mains will just probably be ignored, and you can message them if you like, I don't care. But in general, you did good, Gaijin, but you still got some work to do. That's just my opinion anyway. But anyway, I'll leave you all to it, and I shall see you all on the next one.